welcome to everyone that has joined us this evening. Welcome to New World Immigration's November webinar. We are very excited about this webinar. We put a lot of thought and effort, and we really wanted to deliver as much content and information to make this a very informative decision, that you're going to be making here. Of course, it's a large step in your lives. Many of you have never, immigrated before. Many of you have immigrated from various countries to South Africa, and you're now looking to immigrate to either Canada or Australia. So this is really going to give us an opportunity to introduce our team, introduce the software, introduce the tools and techniques, as well as the features and benefits that New World Immigration has to offer each and every one of you. So, of course, we have a number of us at New World Immigration that are attending this evening. Of course, I'll have the opportunity of introducing you to each and every one of them, as each of you have already been in contact with your relevant consultants. But to start things off, I'd like to take you guys through a couple of fun facts. Very interesting one here. If you take a look at the second last point, an Australian man once tried to sell New Zealand on eBay. I think that's probably one of the largest things that's probably ever tried to be sold on eBay.
Sean, do you know how much you were selling it for?
Probably 1 Bitcoin.
Or 5 Kiwis.
Sorry, guys, my mute button was on, so I was trying to communicate with you, Sean. I'm Robbie, Director of New World Immigration. I don't know, Sean, I don't even know if you introduced yourself.
I actually didn't. I just assumed that everyone would know me, but probably a good idea that I do introduce myself. But I'll let you take the reins. Go for it.
No, you can run with it. So I'll mention another fun fact here. Carling Black Label beer, loved by many South Africans, is originally brewed in Ontario, Canada. Interesting.
Absolutely. So
how many people we have in the room now? We've got 45 families in the room. I just wanted to extend a thanks for everyone taking the time out of their evening to join us. I know it's like families, kids running around, it's crazy. But I think tonight's going to be a very interesting glimpse into how we operate, who we are as people, and how we're going to assist you guys with your next phase in moving over to either Canada or Australia.
Thank you, Robbie. So there's going to be a number of us that are going to be chatting with each and every one of you this evening throughout this event tonight. We should hopefully have this wrapped up within the next hour or so. So we're not going to be taking too much time away from your family. So, of course, starting off, my name is Sean Kupferberg. I will be co-hosting this event this evening with Amy Peacock, as well as Mark Wilkinson, Robbie Raglis, founder and owner of New World Immigration, Leo Medimu, as well as Jamal. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evenings to join us.
Cool. Sean, I just wanted to just say a shout out to some of the clients that I've been speaking to over the past 2 weeks. I wanted to make a special mention to Musa, Danny, Charmaine, Zandile, Kirish, Kani, Kobus, Peter, and Chepo. So welcome, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And the rest of you, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evenings. And to start off with this, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, each and every one of you would have been in contact with your relevant consultants, most recently, Amy, Jamal, Leo, Mark, Matthew, Robbie, as well as myself. So we would have been in contact with you to establish great who we are, who you are, what it is that your family is looking at achieving. And we found synergy with the country that you're qualifying for, as well as what you're looking to do. And that's really what we're trying to find here, right? Is a country that will create a lot of stability for you as a family. And of course, each and every one of your consultants have been able to do so. Hence why you've been invited to this event this evening. All right, so tonight's journey, we're going to be going through a number of different topics, starting off with our registration, running through to stage-by-stage process, meeting both our Canadian as well as our Australian teams, going through our client portal, taking a look at the average salaries as well as occupations in demand, our very famous and newly launched Recruitment Division, as well as discussing the points and the importance of the first phase, which is your skills assessment. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, every so often, each and every one of us get a question surrounding what makes your company legitimate? How can I trust you with my money, my family's lives, going through this emotional roller coaster? How do I have the security as a client, knowing that whom I'm using is legitimate? So one of the major things that you would need to know is the company or your service provider registered through the relevant authorities? In this case, New World Immigration is registered throughout each and every one of the countries that we focus on. You also have access to this information in any of the emails that you receive from New World Immigration. If you take a look at any of the emails, on the bottom of either of the emails, you'll have your consultant's signature, and it will state accreditations to take you through each of our registrations from Australia to the US, as well as Canada. All right, so as each and every one of you may know, immigration isn't a one-stop where, okay, great, Mark, I'm ready to start this process. Once we start, next week, I'm going to be packing my bags, catching a flight, and leaving immediately, right? It's very much a phased approach. This is a long-term goal that you're looking to achieve by starting as soon as possible. So from a phased approach, each and every one of you have left an online inquiry with us. You've been assigned to one of us as consultants. We've run through an assessment to determine your eligibility, and then, of course, received a quotation, and this is where we are all right now, right? Once we've all come to an agreement that we're going to be moving ahead, we'll request supporting documents, and once you've activated your portal with the initial payment, would we then bring you on board for the first phase, essentially assigning you over to the case department, whom I'll be introducing you to shortly. And from that point, the real interesting stuff starts taking place. We start collecting and building a case for you and your family, submitting that information to the relevant authorities, and processing all three phases that we go through until such point we get your visa grant notice. All right, which of course is this very final part here. Right, so just a quick touch on our Canadian department. Those of you that have been qualified and are immigrating or starting the immigration process to Canada, of course, Colleen now is our head case manager within our Canadian department and our registered ICCRC agent, Fazia's son. And then, of course, our very dedicated case department, basically the individuals who are going to be assigned to you personally and project managing this process with you hand in hand. It was actually a really beautiful conversation I had with a client today. Priscilla and myself actually phoned a client who has just been granted their permanent residency to Canada. It is, I actually can't explain the feeling that you get hearing the other person on the other end of the line. It's literally changed that person's life. And she had a 6-month-old child in her hands. I just can't imagine that feeling. It's it's just quite something. I just had to share that. So, of course, those of you that have been qualified and are immigrating, we're starting the immigration process to Australia, starting off with Jonathan Pretorius on the top left-hand side of the page. He is our head case manager within our Canadian department. And then, of course, Sandra Karim is our registered MARA agent. And then again, a dedicated case manager would be assigned to each and every one of you when starting this process and moving ahead throughout each phase as we go. Right, so Robbie, I would love for you to perhaps jump in and chat about the client portal that Robbie Ragles actually came up with this idea a number of years ago. So I'll let Robbie just explain this particular portal, the client portal that he's been very passionate about building and growing as we are today.
Yeah, this is, you could say this is my baby. It's a very uniquely designed customer portal that makes it very easy for you as a client to engage with the company, to engage with your case manager, and basically to process your application with ease. Let's face it, guys, the thought of immigrating is one thing. The thought of dealing with a plethora of documentation is another. It's a daunting prospect. The aim in the design of this portal was to make the application process, and I dare to use the word, fun. So I dare to use that word. So the portal is a space where we manage your entire application. So not just your visa application, but other elements that are related to your immigration process. For example, there are things that sit on the periphery of your immigration process. Things like relocation, things like recruitment, things like managing your payments, things like learning about the country, things like investigating maybe how much you can earn in that country. So we've partnered with a number of professional organizations, some in America, some in the UK. Everything ties into this portal. So when you navigate this portal, and a lot of you have logged in for the first time, and if you haven't logged in, please do so. It's a fantastic space that showcases who we are as a company. We are, and sometimes we joke about it, we sometimes refer to ourselves as a tech immigration company, but we'll leave that for a few years' time. But ultimately, for example, the visa documents page. So the idea is that we have a set list of documents that we require to process your application successfully. So the objective is for you to supply us with those documents. So ultimately, you would submit your documentation to us. We would be notified of this. So you would do it as it's displayed here. So you would upload your documents here. We would look at the document, review it, mark it as reviewed and finalized, and the document would be marked as green, for example. So as you can see, the qualification certificates, academic transcripts, CV, these are just examples, by the way, don't focus on them. It's all like in a peachy color. And then at the top, passport photographs is marked off with a tick and it's in green. So the idea is to try and get all your documents green. That's what we are aiming to do. Once we've done that, once we've achieved that, we then are able to submit your application. And it's nice, Sean, if you can just jump back to the previous screen. So it's really nice, like if you have a particular matter relating to a particular document, you can talk about that specific document with your case manager on this portal. For example, the drop down here is under qualification certificates, and you can chat to your case manager about your qualification certificates. It's kind of like a WhatsApp chat. So everything is recorded, everything is date and time stamped. So you can see a history of everything that you've discussed with your case manager pertaining to that particular document, which we find is really, really unique and cool, because ultimately down the line, if we need to reference something, or if you maybe want to go back and check something, it's all in this one space. But also we have descriptions of the documents and often templates as well. So we want to make the process as easy as possible for you. So you're looking at this for the first time, you're seeing a whole bunch of text everywhere, you're seeing tabs everywhere. When you start using the portal, you become very au fait with it, and it becomes a very critical part of how we manage your expectations as a client and the application process with you. So if you just want to just jump to that next screen, Sean. So another aspect to the portal, we're talking about the relocation section. So we've actually just relaunched our relocation section. We've got so many so many exciting things to talk to you about with regards to relocation. It's something that we started doing, must have been about 3-4 years ago. And we've managed to hook up with fantastic partners that are able to give you, the client, brilliant services. You don't have to go around shopping for partners. We've done that for you. We've scoured the land looking for the best suppliers of ancillary services that relate to your process. For example, freighting, pet relocation, financial services, tax-related matters, Forex, etc. So if you have an issue or a question with Forex, for example, like how do I take my 100,000 Rand to Australia? What do I do? How do I do it? You speak to your case manager and they will point you in the right direction. And everything is managed again on this portal. Okay, next screen. Another aspect of the portal is this unique calendar. So in the immigration journey, it's quite a long process. I mean, we're going to be working with a lot of you for maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe a year and a half. We want to be able to track absolutely everything that takes place. We want to calendarize certain events that are applicable to your application. For example, if you book an English language exam, we can insert that data on the calendar so that your case manager is aware and you are aware, and you can get updates and reminders, and it's a fantastic tool that gets used a lot. Yeah, ultimately you can put in a description, and it's fantastic. This I'm really excited about. So this is a new partnership that we have with PayScale. Some of you, well, I'm almost certain that a lot of you have ventured onto their website before. And ultimately, PayScale is a website where you can get a better understanding as to what you can earn in certain countries. So we approached PayScale. We said, listen, we want to tie up with your database. They said, cool. We've partnered with them. And ultimately, you have the option when on this portal to actually enter the data in right here. So if you, for example, are a mechanical engineer and you're going to Australia and you've got a bachelor's degree and you've got 3 years work experience, you press submit, and ultimately the data gets populated and it displays to you in graphical formats as well as in text what you can earn depending on your experience, how long you've been in the country, what your qualification credentials are like. And this is a fantastic tool. You guys can even use this now. You can jump onto the portal this evening and check, click on PayScale, and you'll get a good understanding of what I'm talking about in terms of what you can learn about what you can earn in the country that you're going to. So maybe some of you are going to Toronto, maybe some of you want to go to Vancouver, maybe some of you want to go to Sydney or Adelaide or Canberra. You can punch in these details and it actually spits out relevant data according to your profession.
Guys, whilst you are jumping onto the portal either now or this evening, I know that a few of you are going to have a few questions during this event. Stephanie, I see that you've also raised your hand. I'd really like to ask each and every one of you to either pop your consultants a message now or after the webinar, that message directly on WhatsApp, and each of them will be able to assist you directly with that question. So if you want to maybe start punching out that question on WhatsApp, bomb it over to me. As soon as I get a gap, I'll answer it, and it will be the same with your consultants. Sorry about that, Robbie.
No, I'm good. Let's jump to the next screen. Guys, this is something you have to do. So we get a lot of questions from a lot of people. What is it like living in Canada? What is it like living in Australia? Like, how do I get my driver's license changed? Like, what do I do when I arrive? Do I rent first or do I buy first? Like, what's the judicial system like? What side of the road do we drive on? These are real questions that you guys are obviously thinking about. And it's so important that you get a good understanding of them. We are immigration agents. We get you that golden ticket to either Canada or Australia. So we thought, how do we add value in this department, in this respect? So we thought, let's prepare an ebook on Canada, Australia, and the US, and let's post it on our portal so that our clients can go on and learn everything there is to know about those specific countries. So you can see here, this Australia one is page 1 of 76. So this is a thick document on everything you need to know about that country. And the bonus is that it was designed for migrants. So it's designed with you guys in mind. You can go in, download it for free. Even tonight, you can jump on, log into your portal, check it out. and download these ebooks. You can actually see the little green hand there. You can just press download. It'll download it to your PC or your phone and give it a read. It's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, perfect. And I think the Canadian one is about 140 pages. So yeah, you won't find yourself running out of information very quickly.
100%.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to touch on one of the major requirements with regards to immigration. It would be the IELTS test. We have partnered with Megan, who's actually an existing client of ours. She's in the process of immigrating to Canada at the moment. So we brought on board as a client. And of course, upon bringing her on board, she was in the process of completing her IELTS examination to become an official tutor. And we then brought on board as our in-house English tutor. So each and every one of you that come on board with us will have direct access as the main applicant to Megan. And Megan, of course, is a certified IELTS coach. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us. A lot of our clients weren't able to join us from Johannesburg. Unfortunately, they're experiencing serious thunder showers that side. So electricity, none. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us this evening. But she is incredible. She really is amazing. She not only takes her job seriously, but she really knows how to make this hectic concept a lot easier to not only understand, but gain some serious confidence within your English proficiency. She's also got a BA in communication science. And ultimately, as an English-speaking person, why would I need to do the English test? Ultimately, why is the English test done? So as an English-speaking country, both Canada as well as Australia, first language English-speaking, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to wanting to go and study there, when putting together your CV proficiently, immigrating or working abroad, it's always ideal to have this IELTS test done in order for an employer or an institution to know that you are proficient in English, right? So by having that within your CV, it's seen as an additional qualification and add points to your profile as well. So there's a number of different benefits that this English test covers. So as I mentioned, Megan would be assigned to the main applicant to assist with 3 free English tutoring classes, which, by the way, again, are not covered by you as the applicant. We absorb those costs as a value-added benefits to our clients. Right, so a very interesting concept as well. Of course, occupation is in demand. Before I get to this topic and I get to the next slide, I'd like to ensure that everyone understands as to why you are in high demand. So in the 1950s, after World War II, both Canada and Australia started noticing a massive increase in population, known as the baby boom. I'm sure each and every one of you have heard of that concept. Now, over the years, unfortunately, the economies had grown, especially over the last decade or 2 decades, and the population, unfortunately, has not kept up to the amount of growth that these countries have gone through. The problem is that a lot of these, or both of these countries, have a large portion of their population that's going into retirement now, which is also creating a further gap in the market where, again, locals are not qualifying through domestic universities. So both of these countries have had to draw the attention to foreign skilled professionals to come in, and might I add, Canada as well as Australia they're both built on immigration, right? It's not like the UK or the United States that have been developed and running by themselves. Canada as well as Australia have both been built and grown by foreign skilled migrants. So you are not the first and you will not be the last that are going to be landing in this country or either one of these countries.
it's like we often hear it in the office and we often talk about it, and it's it's this strange phenomenon that South Africans experience and battle to get to grips with the idea that they are highly sought after and that there's plenty jobs available in their sector. We are taught, we've been brought up to believe that there's job scarcity everywhere. The huge unemployment in South Africa, 30, I don't know what it is, 35% or something. That's crazy. And in countries like Canada and Australia, it's the absolute polar opposite. They are willing to offer you permanent residency in exchange for your skill set. That says a lot about how much they want you, because permanent residency is a very precious commodity in immigration. It's not just given to anyone. One needs to work for it. You need to apply for a study visa and then a work visa, and it takes years to get to this point. These countries are willing to offer you permanent residency on arrival, which I think is something to take note of. It's amazing.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And just to give you an example, the occupations in demand for skilled migrants in both Canada and Australia, unfortunately, we weren't able to touch on absolutely every single sector or every single profession. However, this will just give you a slight idea of the demand, right? So if you take a look at the engineering field, the architecture field, or construction in general, legal professionals, from trade to finance, healthcare, as well as IT. And of course, a lot of you might be sitting in HR roles, right? HR can fit into each and every one of these sectors. I know I had a client today ask me, Sean, I'm in HR, I'm starting the process to Canada. What are the chances of job opportunity available for me? The market is very much open to you, as what Robbie had mentioned earlier on. But we'll touch on a few other concepts now, such as salaries. So if we take a look at the difference and the salary comparison between Canada as well as South Africa, if you look at the engineering field, let me just move this over here quickly. If we look at the engineering field and salaries cross compare, you'd see that in Canada, the average engineer earns twice as much as what the average South African engineer would.
And also keep in mind that family, that engineer who's got a family with 2 kids, that engineer is not paying for healthcare or schooling for his children. So it's not just double salary, it's a saving because of the permanent residency status as well, which I think is important to note.
Absolutely. And just another great point is that a lot of you that are looking to go to Canada, a lot of you have very young children that are going with, or children in general. Canada subsidizes not only schooling, but actually gives you schooling grants. I can't remember the correct figure, but it's something like 600 Canadian dollars or something like that per month. Leo, you know that figure. What is that figure?
It is, depending on the child, let's say, for example, you've got toddlers or you've got kids that are going to daycare. The government, let's say, for example, you're paying $1,000 towards the daycare. The reason why the Canadian government is willing to give you the money is because both the parents are both working, they're paying the taxes and also help build the economy. So the Canadian government will give you $644 towards the daycare, all right? But besides that, when you're looking at the grant as well, every child who's an immigrant, as long as they have permanent residency, the Canadian government will give you $600 every month, right? So I'll give you a scenario. Let's say, for example, I moved to Canada with my kids in January, and then we only start getting registered with everything else in June. The government will backdate until the day we landed in Canada. They'll give you that amount of money from January up to the time that I actually started working in Canada in June.
I want to throw in another story here. So we were chatting to another partner that we're going to be partnering up with in Toronto. Her name's Andrea. She hosts a channel that helps South Africans with the on-arrival stuff, like buying cars and buying houses and things like that. She was telling us a story. It's just like the stories don't stop, when she describes it. And she was talking about her daughter. Her daughter is, I think, like middle of her class in terms of academic achievements, for example, and she's definitely not top, and she's in high school and she's about to start her tertiary education, and she says that universities in Canada are posting like packs to her post box, and they open up the packs and it explodes with streamers and glitter comes out, and it's like, please join our university with a $6,000 bursary. And there's this mom, and she's looking at this thing going like, for my daughter, like for her. So it's just, and she, and in conversation with her, we were chatting a lot the other night. So much that they do for you in terms of supporting you. It's almost like they want you to win. Whereas in South Africa, great country, we all love it here, but you got to fight on your own. You're alone, Whereas in a country like Canada or Australia, everything is geared to make you a winner. It was very interesting listening to her talk about it the other night.
Absolutely, it's very much like what Robbie said. It's not fighting against you. It's literally we're here together. Let's push forward, and we're fighting the rest of the world together. So the better we educate you, the better it is for your household. The more you're going to be paying taxes, the more you're going to be able to add to the economy, the more you're going to be able to do for your family. It just becomes such a snowball effect that takes place, and it's really a beautiful symphony that takes place. And then looking at the average salaries in comparison to South Africa against Australia, and again, from healthcare to registered nurses, I must apologize. If you take a look at secondary school teacher, there are two R's there. Apologies for that. I need to work on my spelling.
And your partner's a teacher, Sean.
Yeah, there we go. 100%. My partner is a teacher. She's, yeah. I'm definitely not going to get rewarded for that. But if we take a look at the average electrician, the average artisan in South Africa is not necessarily sought after. In actual fact, in South Africa, a lot of your artisans, such as plumbers and electricians, are sort of looked down at. And if you look at it in Australia, the average plumber or electrician earns on par, if not more, than a general accountant. And when you say that, an electrician or a plumber from South Africa, like, what? Never. Generally speaking, I've got a client, Ty Hewitt, who's a plumber in Adelaide. He's been there for 4.5 years. He's just done his Australian citizenship ceremony and whatnot. He's now in the process of building a 4-bedroom house, and he's a plumber. His wife hasn't worked for 2.5 years. He's got 2 children, right? So the salaries that these guys earn that side, again, it's a country that wants to work with you, not against you.
Yeah.
So just to give you an example, construction managers, on average 1.4 million rand in comparison to just shy of 350. Teachers, teachers don't go into the industry to make millions, although you wouldn't want to, but it's a very passionable job. You don't go into that industry to earn a massive salary. And what they do in Australia definitely motivates you to not only teach further, but allows you to do more for your family as a teacher. So it's really interesting to see that. Right, so we're going to be running through another fantastic division of ours. Robbie, again, I'd like for you to run through this particular department. Again, this is another massive side that we've been focusing on, a massive side that Robbie and his team within the recruitment division have also focused on. Yeah, please, I'd like for you to explain exactly what this division does.
Thanks, Sean. So we were getting the question so often, what about job security? What about job security? What about job security? I'm not going overseas unless I get a job. I want a job before I want to talk to you. So we had no choice as a company to launch on the 1st of July this year, a recruitment division. So we went out and we scoured the land for the best international recruitment professionals, and we employed them. and headed up by Kyle, who is unfortunately not able to be with us tonight. He's busy with a family function, and I'm sure he would have loved to have spoken to you. But you guys will be introduced to him and his team when you guys come on board. And the recruitment division is designed not to place jobs in your lap and say, there you go, you paid us some money, there's a job, off you go. No, it's not like that. We are an immigration company first and foremost. Our job is to get you into the country in question, either Australia and Canada, and give you the best opportunity to get there swiftly without any hassles and to find the job of your dreams. Now, we're in the industry. We've spoken a lot with employers and recruiters and people that we know. You know, we've done many work permits for Canada and Australia. And ultimately, we know a little bit more than the average person on those countries. So we decided 1st of July, we were going to start a recruitment division that was going to assist our clients apply for and get the perfect job. It's a complimentary service, so we do not charge for this service. It kicks in after you've completed phase 1 with our company. Now, phase 1 with Australia and Canada is the skills assessment process. So skills assessment, English language exam, coupled together, added to your resume is what we call job ready. So you are now able to present yourself in front of the best employers and them having a look at your resume and going, okay, wow, he's done his skill assessment, he's done his English language exam. Oh, he started his application for permanent residency. Wow, that's amazing. This value-added service is complimentary. It is merely a guide to steer you in the right direction. We thought of it that's how it was going to be, just a guide and just let's help our clients move in that direction. But when we started speaking to recruiters, so from July until now, we've been blown away with how much demand there is. Recruiters are willing, in some cases, to pay for your relocation costs. For example, we are looking desperately for veterinarians. They are willing to spend $25,000 in Australia, 280,000 Rand, just to get you over to Australia. Flights, accommodation, everything. So we started off with vets and we're like, oh, wow, this is incredible. I can't believe the demand. Then we moved on to other occupations and we started speaking to other recruiters. And Kyle and his team have done such an incredible job in networking our business with these recruiters. These recruiters are looking at us and going, whoa, this company is positioned as the largest immigration company on the African continent. They've got a database of 175,000 people. Let's work with these guys because they are dealing with migrant-ready people. So we are just getting inundated with requests from recruiters abroad. Kyle is inundated. I asked him today, I said, like, what are you doing? Have we signed up any more recruiters? And he's just busy with CVs. He's like, I've got to get the CV up. I've got to get the CV up. I've got to get the CV up. And he's just recompiling CVs and getting his team to work with him to put those CVs together. But they are busy. We're already planning on employing 5 more people for that division over the next year, just because we just can't cope with the amount of interest that recruiters and employers are taking on, with our applicants. We are becoming a sought after space to look for highly skilled people. Now, that's one aspect of the division. We thought, how do we incorporate this beautiful thing and plug it into our portal? Remember, the portal is a space, a central space where we manage your entire application. So what did we do? The natural thing to do was, let's build a recruitment portal and plug it into our normal portal. So bottom left-hand tab, we are launching that in, I think, on the 1st of December. And you'll be able to click on that tab and look at available opportunities for you in your occupation with employers abroad. Keep in mind, guys, please note, we have not covered every occupation. We are building and we are building fast. You can see web developers, financial accountants, mental health nurses, ICU nurses, midwife nurses, ER nurses, speech pathologists. This is just a screenshot, but it goes down like pages and pages. We need welders, we need fitters, we need accountants, we need civil engineers badly. We need, I don't know if you guys can think of any other occupations that Carl was working with, but there are so many fantastic links that we are making with recruiters abroad. Now we are able to happily tell our clients when they ask us the question, yes, I like immigration and I want to get there, cool, but what about that job? No problem. We will put you in touch with Kyle and his team, the recruitment division, but you need to come on board. You need to start your phase 1. We will not put you forward unless you are job ready. How do you get job ready? You start the process, you do your skills assessment and your English language exam. You become an ideal candidate to put forward for recruitment. We got a request for, I think it was 30 diesel mechanics the other day for Australia. The first thing that they said to us was, do you have diesel mechanics? We said, yes, we've got plenty. We've got hundreds on our system. Have they done their skills assessment with BetterSess? We said, yes, some of them have done them, and we forwarded them those applicants. I think it was 10 or 15. But ultimately, they require, it's a mandatory thing. It's a prerequisite to have your skills assessment done for you to be considered by a recruiter or an employer abroad, especially in Canada and Australia. So by us starting this recruitment division, we were able to learn that a lot better and relay that information to our clients to insist that they start the process and ultimately get that accreditation so that they can be placed and at the same time carry on with their immigration journey. So ultimately, Kyle does a lot of advertising on LinkedIn, and he's networked with a whole range of recruiters on LinkedIn and a number of other platforms. Yeah, so ultimately, when you complete your skills assessment, you will be in touch with that division and ultimately just start your recruitment process as well.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Robbie. And of course, I'd like to touch on a few areas, and I'd like to ask Mark to join me in on this question as well. And I think it's going to be a good conversation that Mark and I would definitely like to get into. And Mark, personal opinion, if I were based in Australia and I happen to run a successful engineering firm, right, I would want to appoint you. Right, you're applying from South Africa, right? But you've got a colleague of yours who happens to have his skills assessment, but you don't. Who am I more likely to employ?
Yeah, it's quite an easy question to answer. Thanks for the opportunity, Sean. So, I mean, if you think about it likely, the skills assessment is really the only way that you can physically evidence that what you do on a daily basis, guys, meets the requirements for that particular occupation in Australia. You can build the best possible CV, have a video motivating, a portfolio, for example, but the skills assessment is realistically the only way, guys, that you can actually evidence to an employer, whether it's in Canada or Australia, but Australia more importantly, that your qualifications as well as your work experience actually fall on par. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, Sean. If I got both of them, unfortunately, I'm employing you. So yeah.
Yeah, well, there we go. And it also shows commitments. This is also a very interesting topic to get onto, because if Mark had to send his CV over to me and I then say, okay, great, Mark, I'm ready to go ahead. I'm going to spend X, Y, and Z money to bring you over, and we commit, right? And Mark hasn't really done much besides just apply for the position. No skills assessment, but he's just applied for the position. Great. He's now, out of the 1% of individuals who's now received the job offer without the skill assessment. Awesome. And 3 to 4 months down the line, he happens to get cold feet and decides not to move ahead with the process. I've spent money as an employer, I've spent time, and this position is still going to stay vacant. That's a problem for me. That skills assessment showcases commitment to the employer as well as the government that you are ready to do this. You are ready to make this move. I've heard it countless of times from employers and South Africans that are already in Australia or Canada, that they know of their employers. Look here, we want to employ this guy. They go through the 4 or 5 month time frame. The guy gets cold feet and decides, no, great, I'm no longer moving ahead of the process. A lot of companies are no longer wanting to work with guys that don't have that. So the skills assessment shows a commitment. It's a route to action. It shows the fact that you're on par with Australian or Canadian qualification framework. And finally, guys, when you're looking to move over to that country, you want permanent residency. that is your end goal. You want stability for your family. You want citizenship. You need a skills assessment to get permanent residency. So whichever way you try and, get into that particular country, it's always going to come back to the skills assessment.
Yeah.
100%. And then also, Sean, especially now that now that our recruitment division is fully fledged, we've actually had the opportunity to connect with employers that side of the world, and we're hearing it from the horse's mouth. These guys are being inundated with CVs from all over the world, and they are literally saying if there's no completed skills assessment, it's being pushed aside or literally just going into the bin, guys. The skills assessment, like Sean says, not only shows commitment, but it also allows you to add a little bit of glitter to your application or to your application for the job as well, because bog standard CVs are just not working anymore. The entire immigration or the recruitment world has completely changed, as they say.
100%.
That's the thing. That is the thing that we hear the most, and we see so often. Is this repetitive? It's almost like the sign of insanity, doing the same thing so many times and different results. It's the same thing. And I've applied to 100 employers, and no one wants to select me. They're not selecting you for a very valid reason, and that is it.
Correct.
So, Amy, I'd like us to have a bit of a conversation about the key points here as well. When taking a look at the exciting moments in immigration. Guys, by the way, I've been in immigration for 8 years now. I have never, ever, ever experienced the demand for foreign skilled professionals to come over. Amy, you've been in the industry for a number of years. You've been in the travel industry for a number of years. You've lived in many different countries. What is your opinion on that?
I think it's good. It's positive. Life is getting back to normal. People are still scared of the fourth wave and this and that. But at the same time, these countries are continuing. Life is going on. So, if you keep delaying your process, you're going to miss out at the end of the day.
100%. I mean, if you take a look at Australia, they've released official information. The Australian government has released official information. Thank you. I could use other words, but it's probably not right on this platform. But Australia will officially be opening from the 1st of December to skilled migrants. Canada has been open for a number of months as well, which has been incredible. So both countries are in full swing to bring in foreign skilled professionals to essentially grow the economy and touch on that subject that we were discussing earlier on.
They've all mentioned immigration as a vital part of the rebuilding of their economies because of the COVID pandemic and what it's done to decimate, the world economy. They've all pointed to that in all the articles that we read and all the practitioners we speak to and all the people on that side. Everyone's saying the same thing. They need foreign skilled workers immediately.
100%, and just really interesting, a couple of months ago, Canada had released stats where they had over 750,000 vacant jobs across the country. I mean, try and fathom that in South Africa. And again, look, don't get me wrong. I don't want to hate on South Africa. I love this country. I'm born and bred in South Africa. It's just, I've never heard of that amount of vacant jobs in one country. It's just insane. And that is a problem that they're facing. So Canada and Australia are looking to bring in over 1 million skilled migrants over the next 2 years. And this is where each and every one of you come in. This is why we've become registered agents. This is why we've attracted you to our database and to our platform and to your consultants to understand whether or not you qualify. And you are the major assets to both of these, one of these economies. Why is it important to start now? One of the main reasons why we're also hosting this event this evening is that borders are opening and there's been 1,500% of applicants that are applying globally. Remember, they're not only looking for South Africans, they're looking for foreign skilled migrants globally, right? So people have started applying, people have already started getting their skills assessments done, people are being proactive, right? Immigration can only handle and assist so many applications. And unfortunately, there will become a huge backlog. So what we are trying to do is avoid that becoming a problem to each and every one of our clients. Those that don't get in contact with us, well, sorry to say, but that is their own problem. What we would like to do for our own clients is avoid that particular problem. Add value by us being able to start your skills assessment now that we have the time, before immigration fees increase. And this happens every single year when there's a surge in applications due to supply and demand, right? The job market, by the way, the job market has introduced the largest demand for skilled migrants in over 10 years. In 10 years, this is huge, right? So taking advantage of the time now, taking advantage of your current scores now, you're only doing yourself a favor. It's not doing Newell a favor. It's definitely doing the country a favor, but it's definitely doing yourselves a favor. This is the major point. You're doing yourself, your partner or spouse, and your children a massive favor by starting the skills assessment now. Us, or myself as a consultant, and each and every one of us that have, of course, hosted this webinar, we are ready, we are eager, we have sent you the necessary information on getting started with your skills assessments. Guys, this is the time. Start with it now. You're only doing yourselves a massive favor by doing it now. We have the time. Let's get it done. So we'd like to finish off tonight's event. And again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, your feedback, your questions, which I've received many. I will be answering each and every one of them this evening. I know I also have,
sorry.
Yeah. No, I have 3 families that are going to be starting their skills assessments with me this evening. I've got notification of that. I see a client, Jonathan, has actually logged onto his portal to make payments. By the way, the portal also allows you to make payments to activate your skills assessment. So log on there, start your skills assessment. Let's assign you over to your case manager, and let's be proactive. Let's get this ball rolling. We're not getting on a flight immediately, guys. We're just starting a somewhat lengthy program as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone at Newell Immigration that would like to have a final note to their families that are joining us, or everyone joining us this evening?
Yeah, I'd just like to say to the person, sorry, whoever that was that I interrupted. I just wanted to say thanks to all my guys that actually joined, and I hope you actually found something of value from this. For lack of a better term, I love these webinars because it kind of allows Newell Immigration to, show a little bit of the eye and what happens back end, because that's often a little bit of a mystery. Great, you come on board, you meet somebody on the phone, you have a nice Zoom, for example, but what happens once I actually physically come on board? So guys, for all my guys that are still here, I'll be working for another hour or so. So if there's anything whatsoever that you need, I'm at your disposal. Actually, I just got the WhatsApp from Courtney. Thank you. I'll be sending you an amended invoice now. But if there's any questions, queries, or concerns, guys, we understand it's a massive decision. It's not buying a new vacuum cleaner. It's a huge decision, and we completely understand. So if there's any sort of queries, concerns that you want to get out the way, there are no silly questions in this game, present them to your consultant. Let's leave no stone unturned. We want you feeling confident, excited, so that by the time you come on board, it's an immediate symbiotic relationship with your case manager, and there's no sort of surprises that pop up after a month or two. But I just wanted to say thanks again to all my people and all of you guys out there as well. Thanks to Sean, Robbie, and Amy, to everybody who's hosting, and Leo and Jamal. But yeah, we're at your disposal. Anything you guys need, let us know.
I think Mark also took all the words right out of my mouth. I wanted to say the same thing to all my clients. Quite a lot, actually. I couldn't even name you guys individually. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it took a lot. You could have been anywhere else. You could have been doing other things. But the fact that you guys joined us tonight, with the team, just to try to understand exactly what we can do for you as a business. We appreciate that, and thank you very much for that as well. As Mark said, I'm still working until the next hour as well. Please send your messages either via email, either via WhatsApp as well. I am available. I logged Eli in his room, so I'm good to go.
We all locked our kids in our room.
Yeah. So yeah, but thank you very much. Sean, back to you, brother.
Sorry,
Thanks
can I
again,
also
guys.
just jump in?
Sorry.
One
Of
God.
course, Amy, absolutely. Kissing that beautiful voice.
Yo, guys, this is really awesome. It's so nice to see so many of my clients there. I just want to give a big shout out to my one client, Shiraz. He was actually referred to me by another client that I brought on board last month. And they work together. So if you guys want to, please share our numbers. You've got them on WhatsApp. But you trust us, you know, we've got a good heart. We don't want to take your money until we know that we can help you. That's our goal as a company. That's why we offer a free assessment to send it out. And yeah, thanks to everyone for coming. Also, Robin, Shane, I see you there. Have a good day.
Jamal, do you want to say something?
No, I mean, you guys have done a very great job. I'm a bit down under the weather today, guys. So
Sick, eh?
I was just observing and watching everything. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. And I just want to say hello again to Lafras. He actually called us today, and he was just really interested to know everything. And I was like, hey, we actually hosting a webinar tonight, and he was like, absolutely. Send it to me, and he's right here as well tonight. So thank you guys for making some time to join us tonight.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much from my part, on behalf of New World Immigration, on behalf of the case department, on behalf of the New World Immigration family. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, and we look forward to starting the skills assessments and this journey with you. Have a great evening and take care.